Yes, guys, what's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy Flicks back with another live stream. You know what to do if you haven't done it before already. Smash the likes and, of course, get subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. So, who should Tottenham sign in the summer and sell on? Some people are saying, look, this is far too early because we don't know if we are going to remain in the Premier League or are we going to be a division below in the Championship next season. But look, I want to talk about it because we do need to sell players, but of course we need fresh blood. We do need fresh blood. We need a massive, massive clear out, don't we? Massive clear out. Um, so big rumours going around. James Trafford from Man City could be heading to Tottenham in the summer to replace Vicario. What are your thoughts on that one? Look, if you're going to ask me, top keeper, a very, very good keeper. A very, very good keeper. Obviously, other players we are apparently linked with is Somerville from West Ham. Again, rumours going around that Roberto De Zerbi is a big admirer of Locatelli from Juventus. So again, what are your thoughts on these guys? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Obviously, going back to when James Trafford was at Burnley, again, he was someone back then that I thought, you know what, this guy, this kid could be a top keeper. Like he's only, I'm just looking now on the iPad. He's only 23. He's only 23. Um, and again, I feel he does deserve first team football. Um, so starting out in Carlisle, I'm seeing from here in his youth days, Carlisle. Um, did spend some time. I'm just double checking that. He did spend some time at Man City before he did go off to Burnley for a season where he was absolutely remarkable. I found something earlier on Google. So after 33 games, Trafford and Burnley had conceded only 9 goals. They had a remarkable season, didn't they? Last season in the Championship. So only 9 goals. The fewest in the history of English football at that point of the season. Trafford finished the season with 29 clean sheets. 29 clean sheets. Which equaled the record for a goalkeeper in a single season in English football. That's bonkers, isn't it? I did actually forget that he had those crazy stats there. 29 clean sheets for Burnley last season in the Championship. Like we all know, it's a whole different ball game, Championship to the Premier League, but that's still outstanding, isn't it? That's remarkable, and you know he is a top keeper. And like I said, I feel he does deserve first team football. English as well, homegrown. You know, we all know Vicario wants out, and I've quickly trying to think from the top of my head now, but I've literally lost count how many times Vicario has cost us this season. Quickly thinking now, there was the West Ham game, um, Fulham a few weeks or a month before that, roughly. Obviously, a few others. You know, he's been absolutely shocking, hasn't he? You know, not 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 standing his ground. Really, not standing his ground. So, if the rumours are true that he wants out, then so be it. Sell him on. Sell him on. Let him go back to Italy. Obviously his home country. A rumor has it that I think it's Inter Milan, or I know it's one of the Milan clubs that are rumored to be wanting him. So if that's the case, then so be it. Like I suggested on my stream, out of the players, you know, put aside Madison. I know he's a bit injury prone. Kulusevski as well. I'd even put Xavi Simons in there. Who else quickly? Paulinho. I know. I personally want Paulinho on a permanent. But again, that only goes by if we remain in the Premier League. But those players there, I want Spurs to keep hold of. Pretty much the rest, I really couldn't care less if they walk tomorrow. I really couldn't care less. Really couldn't care less. So if Vicario goes, so be it. So be it, guys. But let's see your thoughts, guys. Would you be happy to see Vicario leave in the summer, and we get someone like James Trafford, for example? I'm only saying James Trafford because it's been hitting the social media everywhere. It's been doing the rounds. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts on that one. Obviously, there's other keepers out there that Spurs could be looking at if we don't get James Trafford. But look, it all goes by if we remain in the Premier League. That is the big if. That is the big if. But I just wanted to do a video now to get people's thoughts on it, and obviously hear my thoughts as well. But so going back to, I wish I could pull it up on the screen, guys, but I'm just looking now. So he's only 23, English, homegrown, something that I feel that Spurs should go out for. Honestly, they should. They should. But when you think about the other keepers, we got Kinski, not really had a lot of time to really show what he's got. I know we see little glimpses, didn't we? When was it? I know it was when we played Liverpool. That was when he made his debut, of course, and he had a remarkable game that night. But you know, we can't really judge a lot on that first game, and obviously the last game he played was the complete opposite. It was absolutely shambolic, but it was just one of those nights. Players, keepers, they have off days, don't they? They do. They do. But I feel Kinski's a very good keeper. And with Vicario having his surgery, his hernia surgery, so it's looking likely now that Kinski may get a shout on Sunday. So with Tudor not there, you know, if Kinski's to be in goal, he's not going to have those thoughts running through his head. Like, you know, Tudor's going to be on him with De Zerbi there. You never know. You never know. Even if Austin's in goal on Sunday, you know, he's never let us down, has he, Austin? I know it feels like Austin's been at Spurs for 1,000 years, but he's never let us down in those small amount of games that he has played. So look, whoever it is, obviously we've got to get behind them, and then hopefully we do sign some fresh blood. But yeah, Trafford, I'm all for Spurs getting Trafford. I really am. I really am. I'm just seeing in the comments now. Someone's mentioning Brentford's Kelleher. He was someone that I was watching when he was at Liverpool last season. Again, remarkable keeper, and he's had a very good season, hasn't he, for Brentford this season? So look, I'd be happy for a James Trafford, Kelleher, whoever, as long as it ain't for Vicario next season. You know, we've really got to push on now. We really have to push on. Yeah, Brian Maguire. Yeah, big up. I'm a big fan of him as well. Exactly. Yeah, he's had an outstanding season for Brentford, hasn't he? So do you know what the other keeper I've liked for quite a few years now is Jordan Pickford. Again, he's had a remarkable season, hasn't he, at Everton? Again, he's someone else I'd love to see in a Spurs shirt, Pickford, but we all know that won't happen. They're pushing for European football, aren't they? Actually, where are they right now? So I think they're currently eighth. They're currently eighth, aren't they? They're definitely guaranteed conference, aren't they? They've had a remarkable season, Everton as well. But Pickford's another one. Pickford wouldn't come. Yeah, he wouldn't come cheap. He wouldn't come cheap, and Everton wouldn't let him go cheap anyway. But yeah, we all know that move won't happen in a million years. But yeah, he's a remarkable player, isn't he? But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that one, guys? What are your thoughts? The other one that's rumored to be going around since we've. So I might sound a bit silly. I've got an ulcer in the back of my tongue, and it's really annoying me. Um, the other one is Locatelli. Locatelli. Now, since we got De Zerbi, permanent manager on a 5-year contract, by the way, I still find that absolutely bonkers. But yeah, here we are. Locatelli. So it looks like big rumours going around that De Zerbi is looking at Locatelli for that's his number one target for the summer. So Locatelli is a because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know a lot about this guy. I don't really follow too much European football. But obviously, you know, when these rumours were swirling around that De Zerbi is a number one fan of him, I thought, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of digging. So look, he's a defensive midfielder. What else am I seeing? He's only 28. Currently at Juventus. He's also played for AC Milan as well. And I did see a little bit of, I did see a little bit of Savage show this afternoon, and he mentioned that Locatelli is a remarkable player, and he even threw up the stats. And we all know the likes of Adam Wharton. Who's the other kid? Oh gosh, I've gone blank. Elliot Anderson from Forest. Now we all know them two alone in the Premier League have had a remarkable season, but their stats were very, very good, very, very good. And then he threw up, he put Archie Gray in there, and when you compare Archie Gray's stats to Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton, Archie Gray sticks out like a sore thumb. But then he put in Locatelli against a lot of them, and Locatelli stood out big time, big time. Passing, skillful, can hold the ball up, can put a tackle in. And you know, we all know that this is someone we obviously need. We seriously need. You know, I hate bringing up the past, but when you think back to the Potter days, for example, we were miles and miles ahead of Arsenal. You know, that they found it very, very difficult to even compete with us when it come up to playing an North London derby. You know, we would, you know, we would pretty much turn them over. But as time has gone on, we've declined, haven't we? We all know that, and we've declined big time, and we can't even compete with the likes of Fulham anymore. Bournemouth, Villa, we're way down in the pecking order. So if Spurs are going to go out and get Locatelli, you know, I'm sure other teams, top clubs, are going to be after him in the summer. So if that's the case, Spurs have to do everything possible to offer. They have to offer, give them the big bucks, because we all know Spurs spend the money. This is where it does divide Spurs fans. You know, when they say, well, Spurs have spent money, yes, they have spent money, but it's the way they have spent it. It's the way they've spent it, and at the same time, they like to pay not so much high wages. So if Spurs were to go out and get a Locatelli, they seriously have to throw the money at it. Just we all know we've got to rebuild. We have to seriously rebuild. So to get a Locatelli, that would be absolutely phenomenal, wouldn't it? In the summer, and at the same time, what De Zerbi wants, the hierarchy have to do everything possible to support that. As many of us have said, this is literally the last throw of the dice from the hierarchy. They've let us down so many times, as we all know. So this is the last roll of the dice with De Zerbi. Top manager, very, very good manager. We all knew what he'd done at Brighton. again at Marseille, his last job. You know, again, done a remarkable job. Some might call me a bit of a hypocrite, but I think I mentioned yesterday on my stream, you know, when we were rumoured to get De Zerbi, obviously talks were going around that we could get a Redknapp, Tim Sherwood, and I'm just thinking back to, like, there's only like 7 games left. A simple back to basics. Let's just get someone through the door that's ideally played for the club or managed the club before. Just a simple back to basics. You know, get the points to stay in the league, and then we go for a permanent manager like a De Zerbi or Pochettino. You know, he was doing the rounds as well, wasn't he? Old Poch. But look, we got De Zerbi. I'm all for it. Very good manager. But at the end of the day, it's the hierarchy that have to get behind him. You know, the players have to do everything possible to stay in the Premier League, and then the next step is to obviously sell players on, because we have to sell players on, many players, but we'll talk about that in a minute, and obviously get new fresh blood in through the door. And when I mean fresh blood, I mean quality, not players that they think the hierarchy might think, oh yeah, he might be all right. We'll bring him in. He can fill a gap. Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one, but yeah, we'll take our chances. That's what they do. That's what they do. They get players that could be okay, you know, very good in the next 3 to 4 years. They're not very good at getting players in through the door that have been there before and got the t-shirt and can come straight in and do a job. They can't do that. They cannot do that. Cannot do that, can they? So to get a Locatelli through the door would be absolutely phenomenal. It really would. It really would. But you know, if the big boys like your Arsenals, your Liverpools, Man City, if they're not deducted 60 points, that is, then of course, you know, we'll probably lose that battle and it go to one of them clubs. Um, just gonna see if there's any comments swirling through, guys. Please smash the likes on your way through. I'd really appreciate it. Big up the sporting journey. I know James Trafford is also linked with Newcastle too. Oh, is he really? Is he really? Oh, okay. Well, we could have a fight on the hands then, couldn't we? Where are Newcastle actually? Where are Newcastle in the league at the moment? Oh, they're 12th. I thought they were higher than that. You know, I thought they were higher than that. So if all goes well, they could still get European football, and if that's the case, and Trafford does leave Man City, he's going to want European football, isn't he? Obviously, but only time will tell, innit? Only time will tell. So yeah, so linked with Newcastle apparently. So big up the sporting journey for that one. Big up Brian Maguire. I don't rate Trafford. Young but has potential. Um, he's got a lot of potential. A lot of potential. I do actually rate him. I really do. I really do rate him. I really do rate him. I know coming from the Championship to Premier League is it's a massive step. Massive step, but he did have he had a phenomenal season though, didn't he, with Burnley? 29 clean sheets. It's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous stat. Ridiculous stat. You know, Trafford could be a potential number one keeper. He really could. He really could. Um, I read that one earlier, didn't I? Brian Maguire, yeah, why not? Yeah, Kellier's another top keeper who I highly rate. I was gonna say I highly rated, but I still do highly rate. You know, when he stepped in for Alisson last season for Liverpool, again remarkable keeper, and again he's had an outstanding season for Brentford. So that is another possible option, maybe. But this is Spurs, isn't it? This is Spurs. They do piss us off a hell of a lot, and probably end up going for a keeper that we've never heard of. You know, that's the sort of thing Spurs do. Yeah, Pickford wouldn't come cheap. Yeah, like I said earlier, Jordan Pickford is another top keeper, But again, could you really see him leaving Everton, especially if they do get European football? And again, Everton have had a very good season, haven't they? Under David Moyes, of all people. But yeah, I'd love Pickford in a Spurs shirt, but that wouldn't happen, would it? That would never happen. What else we got here? What else? The sporting journey. Do you think the Tottenham fan base needs to lower their expectations with the situation you are in? Well, yeah, of course. Like for example, you got Spurs fans jumping on a bandwagon and saying, well, we're a big club. We are a big club. We're what's the other thing? A lot of them say we're a top six club. Well, how can we be a top six club when we finished 17th last season with 22 league defeats, and by some miracle we could finish 17th again and just about scrape relegation? So if that's the case, to finish 17th, 2 seasons on the trot, is just absolutely shambolic. Absolutely shambolic. But look, history, obviously when you look at the history, Tottenham is a big club, history-wise. But recent years, what have they got to show for it? What have they got to show for it? Seriously. Um, Brian Maguire, we need we need a ball-winning midfielder. Well, yeah, this is what I mean. Someone like a Locatelli would be be a phenomenal signing, but can you really see that happening? Probably not. Probably not. And unless De Zerbi could work a miracle, and and um and lure him in. Hook him in, bring him in. But it would be we would need a miracle, wouldn't we? We all know that one. Um, Other possible options are, like I mentioned earlier, an Adam Wharton, um, Elliot Anderson, but again, rumours are going around that Man City, who was the other team? I think I was going to say Arsenal. I'm not too sure on Arsenal, but definitely two of the so-called top six clubs, as it stands, obviously, are front runners to get Elliot Anderson, and he's not going to come cheap. I'm seeing, I see something this afternoon, rumored to be sold on for between 100 and 120 mil. That's ridiculous, isn't it? That's ridiculous. Can you really see Spurs paying that? Can you really see Spurs paying that? Obviously not. But again, I'd love to see an Adam Wharton or an Elliot Anderson in a Spurs shirt. Again, homegrown, remarkable players, can hold the ball up, can create. Especially Anderson. He's had a phenomenal season for Nottingham Forest. Absolutely outstanding. Um, yeah, I've got another comment here. Big up John O'Whitney, Harry Wilson from Fulham on a free. He's another one. He's another one. He's had a very good season, hasn't he, for Fulham this season? Yeah, again, he's another player that I'd love Spurs to go for. But it's one of them ones, isn't it? I'm trying to think back to last season. Did he have a very good season last season, Harry Wilson? Because it's one of them ones, isn't it? We get someone like that, and we're not going to see any consistency. Because that is the key. That is the major key right now. We need players that are going to bring constant consistency, not to come in, and perform when they feel like it, like a Richarlison, like a Romero. We need consistency. Otherwise, we are not going to push on. And it's because if Spurs by some miracle survive relegation again, I know we were thankful that the bottom three that did go down last season were absolutely poor, and the points margin was a lot bigger compared to what it is now. But if we do scrape relegation again, and we do see another Premier League season, then the hierarchy seriously have to build on. Otherwise, we could be in this situation again next season, and we don't want that. It's that saying, you don't play with fire. Seriously, don't play with fire, because it at some point it will bite us on the arse, and we will go down if it's not this season. We seriously have to build on. Where was I in the comments, guys? Sorry, bear with me, guys. Where was we? Sporting journey. I'm a Leeds fan. Brian Maguire. And would love to have the players like Wharton and Trafford at Leeds. But I know it's not happening anytime soon. I know there's that saying, you never know, because you never know. You never know. You do get surprises in football. We all know that one. Even I think I mentioned it yesterday. Leeds. Not many people are talking about Leeds in a relegation fight. You know, when you look at the table, Leeds are only 3 points clear of Spurs with 7 games remaining. That's a long way to go yet. A long way to go yet. Brian Maguire also saying we should go for Billy Gilmour, Scottish midfielder. Billy Gilmour he went out to, was it Napoli? He left Brighton, didn't he? Was it last season or season before? And went out to Napoli of all teams like that. That's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. I'm sure it's Napoli. If someone can let me know in the comments, guys. What's your thoughts on Scott McTominay? Well, yeah. He obviously left Man United, didn't he? Left Man United to how can I put, revive his career, maybe. Again, he's had an outstanding season for Napoli, hasn't he? Absolutely crazy. The Sporting Journey also saying it is criminal what has happened to your club, though. When you had Poch, the club should have backed him. I strongly believe you would have won a Premier League title by now. Exactly. 100% Spurs would have won something. You know, it's back then. It just needed, in my opinion, it just needed 2, maybe 3 more players to come in to get that other foot over the line. For example, when Spurs let Moussa Dembele go far too early, they should have kept hold of him. They should have kept hold of him. That guy easily had another 2 seasons in him. Definitely. Absolute baller. And he was so underrated. I'm trying to think back now, you know, players back then that Poch Spurs should have got. But, you know, like I said, it just needed 2, maybe 3 players just to get that other foot over the line. We were so close. So close. We had a top defence, top keeper in Lloris back then. Top midfield, creativity, wingers, goal scorers. One of the best link-ups in my opinion in Premier League history, and I'm sure they're still number 1, and that's Sonny and Harry Kane. Heung-min Son and Kane. That partnership was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm sure if someone could dig that stat up, I'm sure they are number 1. And if that's the case, they're not going to be beaten for a very long time. And I hate to say it, but that Son and Kane partnership, I don't think we will see at Spurs again for a very long time. Here we are, guys. Here we are. Where was I in the comments? John O. Whitney, Harry Wilson from Fulham on a free. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, and I'll say again, look, he's had a crazy season for Fulham. Absolutely crazy season. But again, I'm trying to think back to how he was last season. I don't think I don't think he was performing how he is this season. If someone can let me know in the comments. The sporting journey, Wilson has gone on. Sorry, say that again. Harry Wilson has gone on strength to strength each season at Fulham. Good player, like him a lot. But we all know that the key factor is consistency. We need players that are going to come in and be, you know, giving that week in, week out effort. You know, players like Richarlison turn up when they want. Romero, you know, I'll get onto that in a minute. Sporting Journey also saying the only positive for Leeds is we have Burnley and Wolves at home, and we have a good record against Wolves recently. Well, only time will tell, innit? Only time will tell. Obviously, West Ham playing Wolves before Spurs play Sunderland on Sunday. It's nervy times, isn't it? Nervy times. A lot of Spurs fans are obviously saying that De Zerbi. Yeah, sorry guys. Where was I? Yeah, obviously a lot of Spurs fans are saying that since bringing in De Zerbi, they feel a lot more confident that Spurs will stay in the league. If you're asking me, I'm still still on the fence. I'm still on the fence. You know, a little part of me is thinking with De Zerbi in the door, he's not going to be another Igor Tudor and completely week in, week out, constantly change the formation, the lineup. So I feel with De Zerbi coming in, he's going to bring his formation in and he's going to stick to that. Obviously, with the team selection, and I rumour players to be coming back, but you know, we still got players missing. But I feel that De Zerbi would stick to the same starting 11 to as best as he can. He's not going to keep swapping and changing like Igor Tudor did. With Igor Tudor, it was just absolutely shambolic. Everything about him was absolutely shambolic, and to think he was brought in to keep Spurs in the Premier League, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy that the guy just had no clue whatsoever. No clue. Definitely lost the squad. You know, they completely gave up on him. But I hope now we have got De Zerbi, that, you know, the group of boys are very willing to give it their all, to fight for the badge, fight for the club, fight for us, fight for themselves to stay in the league. But here we are. Here we are. Here we are. So with players rumoured to be going in the summer, obviously the number one is Christian Romero. Look, if you're asking me, I'm sure I brought this up yesterday, but look, if you're asking me, Romero has to move on. He's been at Spurs, what, 4, maybe 5 years now, and it's just the same thing year in, year out, isn't it? He's becoming boring. A lot of people hyping him up far too much. You know, don't get me wrong. On his day, he's a very, very good defender. But again, he's not. He hasn't got that consistency in him. Hasn't got that consistency in him. You know, he comes across as a very big hypocrite. You know, does all the talking on social media, but on the pitch, different story, isn't it? Different story all round. But you know, I feel Romero has to move on. Has to move on. Not only that, he annoys me when he comes out of his line, and it's far too much, isn't it? Far too much, far too much. Especially when you go back to the Nottingham Forest game. You know, playing a major high line. 2 Forest players on his arse, loses the ball, falls to the floor, flapping his arms and hands everywhere. Instead of just getting on with the game, try and win the ball back, at least try something. He's just standing there, and then he's walking back, and that's our captain. And for me, I don't want players like that in my squad at Spurs. I don't want it. I really don't want it. So if Romero was to move on, then so be it. I really wouldn't care less. Yeah, but he's a World Cup winner. Yeah, and so what? I really don't care. I really don't care if he does move on. Another one is Mickey van der Ven. Is he going to be moved on? Is he going to be moved on? Obviously, going back to January, there were lots of rumours that he was going to go to Liverpool. Obviously, that didn't happen. But if he was to be moved on, would I really cry about it? Not really. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Players that I want in. The number one, the number one target for me. I'm not the only one that's mentioned this, and that's Brighton's Van Heckel, Dutch. Very good. Very. He's been outstanding for Brighton. Absolutely outstanding. So maybe I'm going to twist it a little bit. So just maybe we keep hold of Mickey van der Ven. Romero goes. That could be a possible partnership there. Van der Ven and Van Heckel, both Dutch, know each other from their time in the nationals, so they know each other very well. So that could be a possible link up there. Obviously, the other one's going around that Vojkovic. Now, is he ready? Is Vojkovic ready to be playing first team football in the Premier League for Spurs? Because let's not forget, he's only still about 19, maybe 20 at a push. But is it too early? Is it too early? I think I mentioned this one yesterday, but wouldn't it be a great idea to bring Vojkovic back to England, so away from Germany, put him out on loan again, but in the Premier League with a team like Everton? Because I was watching Sabba's show. I know I mentioned this yesterday, and I'm sure this was mentioned last week, maybe the week before, and someone put that scenario in there, bring him into the Premier League, chuck him in the Everton squad. And when I see that, Everton, why Everton? And then it suddenly clicked. Players they've got, he could work. He could play alongside Tawoski. I think I pronounced that right. Nothing fashionable about him. Nothing fancy about him. But that guy just does his job. A bit like a Kevin Danzo. Nothing fancy. Does the job, and that's it. So that could be a possible option as well. And at the same time, Vojkovic would be working under a very good manager in David Moyes. So that could be a very good move. Very good move to for the number one Premier League experience. So that could be a possible option. Other players, what do you think now from top of my head would be, to let go would be Dragozin. When we got him in, we was all hyped up, weren't we? Rumours going around that Bayern Munich were wanting him, and they pulled out. Now we all know why they did pull out, because he's not all that, is he? Dragozin is not all that. He is not all that. So if he was to go, so be it. I really wouldn't care. Another one is Destiny Adugi. He gets injured far too much, doesn't he? Gets injured far too much. So again, if he was to go, so be it. So be it. Really, honestly, I really wouldn't care. Other defenders, Porro, not a bad crosser. But other than that, his defending's not really top notch, is it? So again, if he was to go, I really wouldn't care. Really wouldn't care. Then we're going into the midfielders, aren't we? Midfielders. 2 wingers, Odibert and Mathis-Tel. Both absolutely shambolic, aren't they? Absolutely shambolic. You know, it's one of them ones, isn't it? If Spurs do get relegated to I was going to say the Premier League. If Spurs, I'll say that again. If Spurs get relegated to the Championship, those are the 2 players that Spurs would keep hold of, Mathis-Tel and Odibert, because who would want them? Seriously, who would want them? Maybe they would really shine in the Championship, but they're just simply not good enough in the Premier League, are they? There's nothing there about them, is there? Nothing there about them whatsoever. Other players that I would keep hold of is a James Maddison. I know he's a bit injury prone, but on his day, creativity, he can unlock a key that other players can't do. He can find that key pass, can find that runner, creativity, scores goals. So I'll definitely keep hold of Maddison. Another one is Kulusevski. I know he's been out seems like he's been out for a billion years, Kulusevski, but again on his day, phenomenal player. Phenomenal player. I just really hope that he does come back. I really do hope he comes back. So I would definitely keep hold of him. Paulinho, again, I know it goes down to if we stay in the Premier League, but if we do stay in the Premier League, Spurs have to do everything possible to sign João Paulinho on a permanent. Have to. Conor Gallagher, I know that again, this is where Spurs fans are very, very divided when it comes down to Conor Gallagher. Oh yeah, Conor Gallagher's shit. Why did Spurs get him? What was the point in signing him? He does nothing. Doesn't offer anything. Well, first things first. How many times has Conor Gallagher played in his natural position when Igor Tudor was lurking about? How many times? You know, quickly think now from the top of my head. Probably once. There was a lot of times where he's been sat on the bench with João Paulinho, and you're thinking, seriously, those 2 that have got experience, why are they sat on the bench? Why? So Gallagher, I'll go back to Gallagher. I would definitely keep hold of Gallagher, 100%, 100%, guys, 100%. Bear with me 1 minute. Bear with me 1 minute. Other players that I would get rid of is Sarr. Now, going back to the start of the season, one of the games that comes to mind, Man City. He was all over the place, wasn't he? If any of you remember that, all over the gaff. You know, I think he actually got man of the match as well in that day. But other than that, since then he's not really offered anything, has he? Sarr hasn't offered anything. He's one of them. He's one of them players that shouldn't be playing football anymore. Go and join athletics. Go and be a sprinter. You know, he's an athlete. He's an athlete. He's not a football player. For Spurs, anyway. He just doesn't cut it for me. Simply doesn't cut it for me. Archie Gray, I would keep hold of. It's a bit divided. This is where Spurs fans are very divided again. You know, some are saying sell on, he's shit. Other Spurs fans are saying keep hold of him. He's got potential. When he's got bags of potential. Others are saying we'll put him on loan for a season. Well, you know, it's one of them ones, isn't it? It's one of them ones. When you've got players like Sarr, Tel, Odibert, who just offer absolutely fuck all. And then you got Archie Gray, who for me plays, he gives his all. He gives his all, in my opinion. But we're having to rely on a 19-year-old kid to get us out of this freaking mess. When you've had players that have got far more experience, a bit of muscle, a bit more quality over Gray. As in, you know, I'm on about Chelply and Gallagher. But you know, Gray, I'll definitely keep hold of. He needs a bit more muscle on him. I feel he needs a little bit more muscle. Maybe put out on loan, but then it goes down to, are we going to get fresh players in? Because right now we can't afford to have him out on loan. Can't afford to move him on. Because it's just, if you're not going to put Gray there, then it's your SARS, your Tells, your Odeberts, isn't it? You know, another one, Basuma. But I feel Basuma needs to be moved on. I really do. Basuma needs to be moved on. Kolo Muani, honestly, I didn't really see the point in that move. What was the point in getting Kolo Muani in? He's a funny one, isn't he, Muani? He's had little glimpses here and there, but again, it's not consistent. Not consistent enough, is it? So again, I'd move on Kolo Muani. I'm sure he's only on loan, isn't he, till the end of the season? Xavi Simons, I would 100% keep hold of Xavi Simons. You know, I know it doesn't help when you've got players around you that just offer nothing, and then you've got Xavi Simons that just, for example, he gets the ball and he runs with it because there's just no one there that can offer that little bit of help. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing, is there? Absolutely nothing. So with quality around the quality that Xavi Simons brings, he would be a lot more better. He would be an absolutely phenomenal player. You know, so I would definitely keep hold of Xavi Simons. Absolutely will. Bergville, again, I would keep hold of Bergville. I really would. I really would. Souza. Now, why did we get Souza in? Why did Spurs get Souza in? I know he's shown little glimpses here and there. You know, he could be a phenomenal left back, young, pacey. So it's one of them ones, isn't it? Do you put him out on loan? Do you keep him up? You know, do you put him on loan? You know, what do you do with that one? Big up, Nighttime Kid. I just see your comment. Keep Souza, he's decent. Yeah, it's one of them ones, isn't it? This is where Spurs fans are going to be very, very divided. Do you put him out on loan for a season? Especially if we do remain in the Premier League, or keep hold of him. Again, not Nighttime Kid. A Duke, he's not good. He's always injured. Yeah, that's just what I mean. It's just injury prone, isn't it? Again, this is where it does baffle me with the medical staff. We had this problem last season, and we've got it again. And you don't see any other teams that have so many injuries. So many injuries. So many. You know, it's bonkers, isn't it? It's really bonkers. Right, I'm gonna go back through the comments, guys. I'm seeing there's quite a lot of comments in there. Where are we, guys? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Please smash the likes, by the way. Please smash the like on your way through. Please smash the like and as well get subbing if you've never subbed to the channel as well. Where was I? Nighttime Kid. Have a look at Bentancur, Gray, Sart, Simmons, and Bergville. They can't progress. The ball. Only two of them can carry the ball. None of them can win the ball back. Look, Gray. I feel Gray does. Gray does. Simmons as well. Bentancur's another one. He seems to be pick up injuries quite a lot, doesn't he? So I would maybe move on Bentancur as well. But what are your thoughts on that one? Yeah, nighttime kid. Our midfield is limited. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. We're having to rely on a 19-year-old kid in Archie Gray, who I feel is a very, very good player because he is. But then it gets worse than that, doesn't it? Because you got players like Tell, Odibert, who just offer absolutely nothing. So this is why we're having to rely on Archie Gray. It's mental. I hope on Sunday we see a major difference in obviously formation, but team selection. We have to be seeing Conor Gallagher in his natural position, João Palhinha in his natural position, nowhere near that bench. Those two players should be nowhere near that bench. Xavi Simons as well should be nowhere near that bench. So I really do hope that De Zerbi has a bit of sense and he's not gonna he's not gonna fuck about here. He's gonna get straight to it. Straight to it. But only time will tell, innit? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Big up, we are Spurs TV. Trying hard is not good enough in the best league in the world. Well, yeah, exactly. Trippier is a free agent. Would be great for experience. Look, Trippier, yeah, I was majorly pissed off when Trippier left Spurs. He left just after the Champions League defeat, didn't he, that season? Yeah, and like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I was majorly pissed off when Trippier went, and the way he left the club as well. It's like, yeah, it's, and he gave absolutely everything, didn't he, Trippier? Absolutely everything. But yeah, he ain't gonna come back to Spurs. He ain't gonna come back. He's what, 35, 34, 35 now. Kieran Trippier. We are Spurs TV also saying him giving his all means nothing. This isn't youth sports; it's professional. Well, yeah, of course, of course. But like I keep saying, and I'll say again, we're having to rely on a 19-year-old kid who has got a lot of potential, and we see that, didn't we? When they played Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, in that second leg, absolutely phenomenal. That link up play he had with Xavi Simons, absolutely phenomenal. But it's one of them ones where it's got to be consistent. We've got to have consistency. That is the major key. Going back to when we had Ollie Skip and Harry Winks, aka Winkerbell, I called him. He had a phenomenal game, didn't he, against Real Madrid that year. But since then, it was just basically average, wasn't it? Basically average. So this is the major key. We need consistency. That is the major key. But going back to Archie Gray, like I said, we're having to rely on a 19-year-old kid. So I would rather have that in the starting 11 over Mathis Tell and Odibert, for example, because they literally offer nothing whatsoever. Absolutely nothing. But of course, look, we do deserve better. We do deserve better. So, like I said earlier, let's hope with De Zerbi coming in, he gets a simple back to basics, as many of us are saying, a simple back to basics. 7 games left, a simple back to basics, a simple formation, and you keep to that formation, and you keep to the same 11 as best as you can, and you play your best players, aka João Palhinha, Simons, Conor Gallagher. You're playing all these boys in their natural positions and you let them play. You know what I mean? Don't start pissing about like Igor Tudor did, because if we kept hold of Tudor, kiss goodbye to the Premier League. He was sending us down. And to think he was brought in for one job and that was to keep us in the league, it's absolutely mental, isn't it? He was going to take Spurs down. That was guaranteed. If Tudor stayed, he would have took Tottenham down to the Championship. So with De Zerbi at Spurs, like I said, look, there's still a part of me that's on the fence with him. You know, I'm still a bit nervy. I'm still a bit scared that we could go down. But a little part of me's now thinking, we've got Premier League experience. We all know what he's done at Brighton. We all know what he's done at Marseille. Phenomenal coach. Doesn't take any shit whatsoever. So just maybe he can get these group of boys to pick up the points that we need to keep Spurs in the Premier League. And then by some very, very big miracle, we kick on next season. But again, as we all know, that goes down to the hierarchy. The board, ENIC, they are the ones that have to seriously back the manager. Seriously have to back the manager. And like I said, and I'll say again, this surely has to be the last roll of the dice. If things seriously fuck up with De Zerbi, you know, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. You know, I know it's worse now, but it gets a lot worse. ENIC have to set up, surely. The board have to be seriously shaken up. You know, big rumours going around. I think was it this morning or maybe yesterday? I heard someone mention on TalkSport that Johan Lang could be forced out of Spurs. If that's the case, fingers crossed very, very tightly, by the way. I pray that is true. Because he offered fuck all. Offered absolutely nothing. Dumb as shit. What's the point? You know, another one is obviously Vinay. Vinay, he's another one. Get out of our club. Seriously, seriously get out of our club. Seriously, honestly. If we do remain in the Premier League, we can't have another season where we're down there in the pits and we're scrapping to stay in the Premier League. It's about building now. It's about building. But this is where the hierarchy need to pull their fingers out their arse, or they move on and let someone come in who wants to care about the club, wants to see the club succeed. But only time will tell, though, innit? Only time will tell. Right, where was I in the comments? Bear with me, guys. We are Spurs TV. Great trying hard means fuck all if we get relegated with the English Premier League. Say it's okay. You can stay up because great tried hard. Well, I'm only saying this because honestly, I'd rather have him over the likes of Odibert, Tell, possibly even like someone like Basuma. Sarr as well. Sarr. Because they offer absolutely nothing. I know we deserve better and we can do a lot better. We can do a lot better. But right now, we don't have a lot there, do we? We don't have a lot there. The sporting journey. I don't think Tottenham have seen enough on Sousa to say keep him or loan him. It's a difficult one. Well, yeah, it's a very difficult one. It's a very difficult one. It's one of them ones where, you know, going into the summer, if Spurs are going to spend money, and I know they do spend money, but it's the way they go about doing it. If they were to get a top a top left back, then maybe loan out Sousa. And when I mean loan him out, put him in the Premier League, keep him in the Premier League, keep him in the Premier League. A bit like a Vojskovic, for example. Like if those of you have only just joined, when I mentioned Vojskovic, very, very good defender, top defender. But is it the right time to bring him in a Spurs shirt? I don't think so. I would put him out on loan. So this could be a potential move for Sousa as well. Maybe put him out on loan, but in the Premier League as well. Let him gain that experience, and then see where we go from that. So that could be a possible option. We are Spurs TV also saying Spurs fans are divided because some fans have no standards and think every young player is going to be a superstar. Oh yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. The fans who base their options on facts and not feelings are not divided. Well, yeah, of course, of course. Brian Maguire. Yeah, we got too many youngsters. Exactly, we got far too many youngsters. Far too many. They're all kids. Kids playing with kids, isn't it? Kids playing with kids. Yeah, quickly now think from the top of my head. Yeah, the only like so-called mature ones are the likes of Gallagher, Pellina, Solanke, Richarlison. But it's still not good enough, is it? It really isn't good enough. Really isn't good enough. Really isn't good enough. We need experience. We need muscle. We need quality. We need quality. So it will be an interesting summer. It definitely will be an interesting summer. Staying in the league or going down. Brian Maguire, you should try and go on We Are Tottenham TV. I've been on their channel before. I've been on their channel before. I've met Simeon and Ben face to face quite a few times. Back in the days when Spurs were playing at Wembley, when the new White Lane was being built. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, that could be a good shout. I'm literally open to going on anyone's channel. I really am. I'm not one of them guys, that would snub a channel because they don't get many viewings. Well, that's me as well. I don't really get many viewings. I'm trying to build my own channel up, so I'm literally open to going on anyone's channel. I really am. I really am. But yeah, definitely. Big up Ghosted LDN. Big up Flicks. Big up yourself. Please smash the likes on your way through, guys. Jono Whitney also saying De Zerbi should keep you up. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. He's been brought in. He's been brought in to do one job and one job only. I know that was Tudor as well, but Tudor just had nothing about him whatsoever. With De Zerbi, like I said, and I say again, we all know what he's done at Brighton. Phenomenal manager, very good coach. Don't take no shit. He's another Conte, isn't he? He's another Conte. This is what did baffle me when it was announced that we was getting rid of De Zerbi. I'm thinking, but he's another Conte. If he doesn't like something, he's going to say it. He's not going to keep it in there. He's going to say it out loud. He's going to want everyone to hear it. And we all know with the board, Enoch, they don't like confrontation. So you know what I mean? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And if De Zerbi does keep Spurs in the Premier League, he's going to want major signings in the summer. And that's where things could seriously kick off. But here we are. Ghosted LDN. Will Vojskovic even play for us? Well, yeah, this is it. This is. I know rumours well going around that he doesn't even want to come back to Spurs. Again, rumours going around that possible Real Madrid or Barcelona might potentially sign him. If that's the case, then so be it, because he is a very, very good defender. But if Spurs or if Vojskovic wanted to come back to Spurs, then maybe stick him out on loan, but back in the Premier League. Let him gain that experience in the Premier League just for a season, and then go from that maybe. Ghosted LDN also saying, my problem with the young players is if they do become world class, they will only be sold for profit under Enoch. That's why I can't get excited about them. Literally, yeah, exactly. That's how things were with Levy. That's how things were with Daniel Levy. He see a lot of profit there with certain players. Again, he wasn't one for how can I put it? Moving up a step, if you like. So yeah, you're 100% right, Ghosted. 100%, 100%. Sporting journey, I honestly think you will avoid relegation. But if you look at the average age of promoted sides from the Championship is 25 to 26 years old. Well, yeah, you saying that. Look at the Coventry side. Absolutely smashing it in the Championship, and pretty much most of their players are all around about that age. They're all above 25. Par, one or two of them that are maybe 20, 21, 22, 23, but they're all a lot older, a hell of a lot older. Frank Lampard's done a remarkable job, hasn't he? Done an outstanding job for Coventry. Ghosted LDN also saying, I'd rather we spend the crazy amounts of money we've spent on the kids on senior pros and bring through academy players. Well, yeah, of course, yeah, it's always good to bring academy players through. It's always good to bring your homegrown through. But, times are changing in football. Times are changing in football. It's not always about your homegrown. Look at Man City, for example. Man City, they bring through a lot of young, exciting players, but they just move them on, don't they? They just move them on. When you think back to when they let Cole Palmer go, like, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But they just seem to breed them and then move them on. It's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental. Quickly before I do go, other players that I would get rid of is Richarlison. Richarlison's just not consistent enough. A bit like a Romero, turns up when he wants, performs when he wants, not consistent enough. To think, we had quality partnerships, goal scorers, Heung-min Son, Harry Kane. Now we got Richarlison, Solanke. Levels, major levels there, isn't there? Major levels. So Richarlison for me, move on. I'd even possibly sell on Solanke as well. I really would. But if I was to keep hold of one, or if I had to keep hold of one, I would keep hold of Solanke. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But let's hope that on Sunday, we do get the points. We've got to start bagging all 3 points now. We just can't pick up a point here and there because that won't be good enough. It simply won't be good enough. Simply won't be good enough. Ghosted LDN also saying that's because they don't need them. But the Man City model is the correct. Well, exactly. They don't need them because they're able to attract the top players. They can pay those wages, which is something Spurs can't do. They can't pay the wages. They're good at splashing the money to get players in, but it's about the wages at the end of the day. And obviously, the big factor is European football, Champions League football. Spurs won't have European football whatsoever next season. So it's going to be one of them ones where, like a Locatelli, if he was to come to the Premier League, and for example, he's in talks with Spurs, but then Man City or your Arsenal's or your Liverpool's, whatever, come up. Who's he going to choose? Who's he going to choose? Of course, he's going to choose them over Spurs. But here we are. Here we are, innit? Here we are. Here we are. Our scouts are, yeah, exactly. Our scouts are terrible. Our scouts are terrible. Everything about it is just absolutely shocking, isn't it? Everything about it is just absolutely terrible. But let's hope that first things first, they have to do everything possible to stay in the league. So can De Zerbi do that? Only time will tell. Starting on Sunday, stay in the league. By some miracle, we kick on. We seriously kick on in the summer. We get quality in. We get rid of the dead wood. Get rid of players that simply don't want to be at the club anymore. Move them on. We start that rebuild that should have been started many seasons ago. we start that rebuild. We start to kick on now. Start to kick on. But as we all know, it boils down to the hierarchy, the board, and ENIC at the end of the day. It all boils down to them. So here we are. Like I keep saying, it's the last roll of the dice now. It's the last roll of the dice. Brian Maguire, I didn't know Trippier was 35. My bad, I thought he was 31. No, he's about 34, 35 roughly. But yeah, that's enough from me. Thank you for joining. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Big up yourselves. If you haven't smashed that like already, please smash the like on your way through. And of course, get subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. But yeah, that is enough from me. That is enough from me. I will see you lot on the next video. And as always, up the Spurs and take it easy. In a bit, guys.